Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another World of Tanks review. This time we're going to look at the VK7201K. I know a couple of you have been waiting on this one for a while, and it's just going to follow the standard format. Can't talk much about the line up to it, obviously, but I'll talk about the crew skills, equipment choices, consumables, ammo, all that good stuff. Go over its raw stats. So a few of you might have clicked on this and you might be thinking, huh, I've never seen that tank before. And then you might go into World of Tanks, you might look at your tech tree and think, huh, there's no VK7201K on here. And no, you're very right, there isn't. Now, so where did this tank come from? This was a reward for the second Clan Wars campaign. Now what that means is that occasionally Wargaming put out it's what's called a campaign, where essentially all the clans currently on the map gets thrown, or a new map gets put up, a new Clan Wars map, and for the next I think the last one was 2 months, it might have been 3, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a separate Clan Wars map, and teams fight for land, and as they fight for land, they get fame points. Fame points are generated for participating in games, winning games. You get more fame points if the battle is over land, if it's not just a landing tournament, etc, etc. So after a couple of months, these were awarded to the top 10,000 players ranked by fame points. So yeah, basically, so the people who did the best in Clan Wars got one of these tanks. You may have seen them around. A lot of people might not be too familiar about what they do and what they are. So I have some pretty strong opinions about this tank. So first of all, I'll be treat it totally neutrally. I'll have a look at the stats. I'll compare it to other tanks. Most notably the E100 and the mouse, and then I'll talk about what I think about it, going back into my opinion. So, here we go. The stats. 2,500 health. Pretty good for a heavy tank. Stacks up to the IS-7, it's got 2,150. E5's got 2,200. However, it does have 500 less than the mouse, and 200 less than the E100. Okay? Weighs 120 tons, the mouse weighs 188, and the E100 is somewhere about 140, 130, I think. So it's the lightest of the three German heavies as well. 1200 horsepower engine, pretty standard across all the tier 10 German heavies. Now, the health, the weight, and the engine power, and the armour are... So it's basically got less health than the mouse and E100, it's lighter, and it's got worse armour. It's just not as well armoured. Not well on its, hasn't got skirts on its tracks, so it doesn't get as much protection from arty damage. It's got, but the armour on this tank is just worse. Now that allows it to be pretty quick. Actually, in a straight line, this tank is pretty fast, 47 kilometers an hour top speed. You will motor past E100s in this thing. It's just as it is. It's a pig to turn, 24 traverse with 18 turret traverse. So yes, this is not agile. It's a big, heavy German tank. It's not agile, but in a straight line, it does go. It does move. So now we'll talk about the armor. It's got 200. Talk about the hull first. 200 at the front, 160 at the side, and 120 at the rear. Now, if you look at the front of this tank, what do you notice that's weird compared to the E100 and the mouse? How about the lower plate? Look at that. Look at the lack of angle on that. Okay. If you can see this, guys, and you're in a tier 10 game, just shoot this. Just shoot this every single time and you'll go in. I believe it's 100, after looking at it in the World of Tanks viewer, it's 185 millimeters. With no angle basically on it. That's pretty flat. So maybe an effective thickness 200-ish. Right there, guys, every single time. Just shoot there. Like, once again, shoot there. It's going to go in. Angles like that, it will go in. That's pushing it, but still maybe. Angles like that angle is going to go in every time. You know, with a gun with 250, 260 plus pen. It's just bad. No more else to be said. This, however, is Bounce City. Anywhere on here, it's going to bounce. pretty much every time. The side, 160. Not bad, honestly. This tank is, as you can see, it's rear mounted, which means it lends itself to side scraping very, very well. 160 at the side means it is pretty well equipped for that. However, again, so imagine this tank. There's a corner here, and you see this. All you can see is this part of the tank. Where do you shoot? Well, if you have a quick look, if I draw it up, this sticks out. Look at that. From here you can see this bit right here sticks out. And so when someone's side scraping it, the angle becomes less and less pronounced. And remember, this here is part of the hull, and even then, it's the turret up here is the same. This is all round here, it's all 160 armour. 160 here, 160 here, okay? So stretch it out, 160. And that, like that guy shooting from this sort of angle, there, is not much of an angle at all. Here as well, because it's slightly sloped there, you see? This little kind of triangle here. It's just reducing. If it was flat like this all the way along the tank, it would be good. But it isn't. Because people just shoot you there. Or there. I mean, I have given an angle literally like that to tier 10 tank destroyers, and they've just fired there every single time. You know, to penetrate that, I reckon you need 250 pen-ish, which every tier 10 has. Right there, only 160 armour, right there, every time. So, yeah, not great, basically. Have a look at the turret. Big mantle on this thing, 200mm. You think that would be pretty safe? No, not really. I've got some very weird footage where later on, where an E5 just drives past the front of my tank, just blind fires at my tank. There's a huge scratch mark along here, and it pens me. So I guess he hit my turret ring, or I mean I don't know. But the thing is, this should protect the turret ring. This little, I'm assuming that's what this is for. But I mean I don't know if that's spaced or it doesn't say on the viewer. So anyway, God knows. However, 160 here, and 160 here. This should be this here, this mantle, pretty impenetrable. This is also kind of a myth as well. People can pen this thing here, but it is very, very rounded. And so sometimes people get drawn into penning there, but again, you're going to be side scraping in this thing. Just shoot it there. I can't really emphasize that enough. Yeah, so really you can pen this tank at almost any angle at tier 10. I'm really not impressed. I was going to try and keep my kind of disdain for this tank, you know, kind of on the down low until the end of the video, and I kind of give my opinion about what it's good at and what it isn't. But I mean, I can't really, I can't talk about the armor and this stuff here without telling you how bad it is, really. Anyway, so yeah, pretty. You know, it seems well armored. However, when people know where to shoot you, if you side scrape and people are trying to shoot you like there, because imagine that the gun would be pointed right at you. So I mean, so you'd be looking at it like that. That angle, if you're trying to shoot you like this, and that's 160, will bounce every time. As soon as it's like that, however, if you can get that side of the turret, you'll pen it. If you can hit it here, you'll pen it. It's just, yeah, it's just what it is. Anyway, 400 view range, 720 signal range, pretty standard. Let's have, maybe it makes up for it in the gun. Well, I can tell you that it doesn't. Let's have a quick look. This is essentially the E100's gun. It's exactly the same in many, many ways, apart from a couple. Both 128. That's not the top E100 gun at all. Let's get out the proper one, shall we? Where is it? E100, big gun, there we go. So, E100 top gun. Both 150 calibers. E100, 3 rounds per minute, so 20 seconds reload, flat. 2.73. So this fires slower than an E100. The E100 has not got a fast firing gun as it is, guys. E100, I believe, with crew and modules and equipment, gets about a 16-second reload. This, with everything, gets about an 18 or 19-second reload. I don't have Brothers in Arms, so Brothers in Arms come down to about 18. However, 19-second reload. That's about 2 or 3 seconds faster than a Jagdpanzer E100. Just putting that into perspective. 235 standard pen, crap. You know, some of you guys have watched my videos before, you know I like to talk about pen with accuracy with aiming time. This is awful. 235 is really, really bad. Some of the lowest pen at tier 10. I believe it is in fact the lowest pen at tier 10. Your gold ammo is heat, and heat is awful to use because it gets absorbed by tracks. It just, yeah, with an inaccurate gun, heat is hell to use. If you've ever played heat if top tier, you know what I'm talking about. 750, good alpha, good chunk of alpha, but again, it's the E100's gun. Both have got 0.4 accuracy. E100's gun got a 2.9 aiming time. This has 3.4. So not only has it got a slower fire rate, it's got a longer aiming time. So, just again, put this into perspective. The E100's gun, people hate it. Okay, this fires slower, retains the shit pen. 750, decent alpha. One of the most inaccurate guns at tier 10 with the slowest load time. This is the worst gun a tier 10 tank can fit. It just is. The stats speak for itself. It's worse than every other tier 10 gun. You know, the IS-7, which has a famously bad gun. Where is my IS-7? It's along here. People hate the gun on the IS-7. Tell you what though. It's got more pen. Bad everywhere else. Gets APCR as it's enhanced. 490. It's got more DPM. Yeah, you know, the IS-7 has far more DPM than this tank, than this gun. You know, it's bad, guys. It's really bad. I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah, the worst gun at tier 10 by really quite some distance. And that kind of wraps it up for that. I mean, if I'm sounding already really biased and negative, it's just because it's what it is, guys. Like, I mean, I don't like this tank, but you know, I think I've got enough. You know, I'm reasonable enough to be unbiased in these reviews. When I say this is the worst gun at tier 10, it just is. You know, the stats speak for themselves. It's the worst gun at tier 10. The armor, because of this, is just bad as well. You know, the armor can be good when people don't understand where to shoot you. However, as soon as you've got to tier 10, everyone should know that even the most basic stuff, you shoot the armor in the flattest spots you can see. So let's say you drive around the corner and you're faced with this. Anyone is going to think, huh, that's a really flat lower plate. Why don't I shoot it there? Oh, look, it penned. And if you're side scraping, they'll be looking at your tank for a second and they'll think, oh, this sticks out at the back. It sticks out quite a lot. And because he's at this angle, maybe I should just shoot him there. Oh, look, a penned. Okay, it's not rocket science. You know, these are not, you know, secrets of elite players. This is, you know, if you just look at the tank, you know, you just see where it's flat and shoot, and you'll go in. You know, 250 pen plus, which all tanks have at tier 10. Just going to go in. Anyway, let's talk about the old crew skills. Repairs. It's just a side scraping tank, basically. You can't drive round a corner front first because this will get penned. So you side scrape and you hope people don't shoot you there. It's just, you know, if you drive around the corner, people are just going to shoot you there all day. Not much more to say. So you get repairs because it's a side scraper. Next, kind of up to you. I would say Brothers in Arms to get that horrific loading time down, as well as increase the accuracy of the gun. I would take that over Snapshot because I've anything to get the DPM up on this. Really. So 6th Sense obviously crucial. Full repairs, and after that, probably Brothers in Arms. Then specific skills after that. Equipment skills. Vert stabs crucial. Rammer pretty crucial. The last one, I'm almost tempted to switch out vents for a caliber rammer. Don't think it's worth it. Toolbox. I would say toolbox is an option, but I don't really think it is here. Why? Because you've got to get that loading time down, guys. You can't. I really think you can't afford not to fit vents and a rammer. And you were never going to get rid of vert stabs with 3.4 aiming time. So you need these, basically. The only one you would switch out is the vents. Maybe pick up the rammer or a toolbox. I really wouldn't recommend it. terms of the ammo, I hate heat ammo with a fiery passion. So much so that at almost any range and in almost any situation, I would rather be firing the AP on this tank with 235 pen, with .4 accuracy, with 3.4 aiming time. I would rather take 235 pen over the huge pen of the heat ammo. It will get absorbed by tracks, it will miss and hit a part of the tank that will absorb it. It's expensive as hell. It just, yeah, not good. I always take a couple of explosive ones. Fire extinguisher on German tanks, pretty mandatory. I haven't actually been set on fire in this thing yet, but that's because I am always hiding this lower front plate. With the E100 and the mouse, you can angle it like this, and stuff will bounce. Whereas this, I just try and hide this all the time. I'm always trying to be side scraping, because there's a chance they won't pen you when they're side scraping. There's no chance they won't pen that. Okay, so yeah, that's it. It is what it is. So I haven't really been set on fire a lot. Might even be worth using a large repair kit just to increase the repair time, because again, if you're side scraping, you're getting your tracks blown off a lot. Good thing about this tank, I have not taken any crew damage, so make of that what you will. So, I've already given you maybe a teeny weeny hint as to what I think about the tank. What's its role? Well, city fighting, side scraping, pretty much what the other two German tanks do. However, the other German tanks just do it better. The E100 does this job, but it's got its guns better. It's got more reliable armor. If you really want something, so this is with a view to Clan Wars, by the way. This is just looking at the tanks in a vacuum and saying, if all players were equal, what would be the best for each situation? There is no situation where this would be better than a mouse or an E100. Okay, because you use the mouse for pure defensive work, for side scraping and angling, and at last resort blocking streets and bridges, okay, and use the E100 for pretty much the same thing but in slightly more offensive roles. At no point would you take this over either of those tanks because of that. Clan Wars, people fire gold all the time. You think this is painful in random games? Wait until people are just firing gold shells through here. You can't do that in an E100. Sorry, to an E100. The E100 has different problems, such as you can shoot through the front of its turret. However, you can correct that. Player skill can get around that. You can angle your turret. Okay, you can't fire your gun, but it means you're bloody hard to penetrate. Okay? You can't get rid of this with player skill. Because every time, you can rock backwards and forwards to try and throw them off. Of course, you can do stuff like that. But it's always there. You can't compensate for this, You just can't. There's nothing you can do. When you side scrape around the corner, which is the only way you can play this tank, they're just going to shoot you there. I've said that enough, but it's really just what it is. Again, the only case where this beats the E100 and the mouse is its speed. It's straight line speed. It can get to places quicker. Okay, so there might be certain spots on certain Clan Wars maps where you really need something to rush a position and side scrape a building in defense. Use an IS-4. Honestly, use an IS-4 or an IS-7 for God, because the IS-4 and the IS-7 are not. The IS-7 is not a very versatile tank. It's pretty versatile, but it's not as versatile as an E5. However, it's more versatile than this. This, when it's not side scraping, is just going to get shot here. At any range, it's going to go in there. So, yeah, and again, I don't want to say it again. You don't ever want to show anyone this. So you have to side scrape, and then you get shot there. I can make a song out of this at this point, and it's really just the truth of the tank. It's just what happens. Anyway, I have some gameplay for you guys. Word about the gameplay. I have had games where I've done 5-6k damage in this tank. Just because I've been playing this game for a while now and I've come up against opponents that haven't really know what to do. But I'm not trying to show you ownage videos of this tank. Really, I'm showing you a review of it, and in that review I'm comparing it to stuff like the E100 and the mouse, okay? Because you guys want to know, is this tank better than the tanks you can get? No. In the same way that the M60 is, not, it's used for, it's got view range, that's what you use that for, they are used. But, and I'm also not saying this tank is awful, because it isn't, okay? It's annoying to play sometimes, but if it was really, really bad, I couldn't get 5-6k damage games. The gun's still alphas for 750 if you can get, if you can get over the pen, aim time, and accuracy. So it still hits bloody hard. But what I'm really trying to show to you guys is the fact that this doesn't beat its counterparts at anything. It's, and if it did, there would be a problem, okay? Because this is a tank that only a few people have. And if that was the best at something, then okay, there would be riots in the streets of Belarus. But it's yeah. I'll roll the replay and I'll show you guys what I mean. Okay, here we go. Ruinberg. Now, a quick disclaimer before this replay starts. Again, in quite a few of my other replays, I've shown you my mastery replays or really good replays that I've had. And that's not because I want to see you guys, it's nice when I can get to show off a good replay, but I've been showing off replays where I've played the tank in a way so that you guys can see what it's good at and what it's supposed to do, okay? I'm going to do the same here, right? However, what this tank is supposed to be good at, it's not very good at, okay? So this is a pretty lackluster replay, but it showcases why it's not a good tank when compared to the E100 and the mouse. Anyway, so just with that disclaimer in mind, we'll go on. Ruinberg on fire. We have two 100s and we have got me in the VK. We are going to dominate the town. They're probably going to dominate the top. They have a platoon of Batchats, 121, T57 heavy, and an E5. Okay, so we should win the town. And they should win the village up top. To that end, I'm one of the heaviest tanks. I'm a side scraper. And by the way, look, I'm motoring ahead of the E100s here. 28, and as you can see, this ain't slow. 28 miles an hour, almost 31 miles an hour. You can see the E100. He's kind of going over every bump he can find, but it's not going that. This thing does motor away. So we move down here as I got a good spawn. Moving into position to get a good side scraping spot. And here we go. For those of you guys that don't know, this is side scraping. Okay, it's showing them an angle of your tank that you want them to shoot at, i.e. like that. Okay, it's not a perfect angle because I haven't got myself into position yet, but like that. Okay, all they can see in my tank is a very, very angled side and my gun. But again, look, just look at it. Look at where the turret meets the hull. It's just that, yeah. It's just a flat angle. It really is. So we're sat here and we're side scraping. Maneuvering myself slightly. Just waiting this T30 decide to sit behind me. That's always fun. Here we go. Here's an E5. I'm just going to slow this down a little bit. So I fire and pen him. Okay, bam. And now, here we go. I move back in. That was an E5. Where did it hit me? Right in the gun mantle. Look at where the scratch mark is. Right there, right on top of my gun. Knocks out my gun. That was pretty sure that was a heat round. It wasn't high explosive because it took off, about the average roll of an E5. But he just penned me in my gun mantle. Right, look, right there. So, there we go. I'll speed it up a bit. I was kind of reeling from that because I was like, wow, okay, cool. So, I repair my gun. So this doesn't even have a gun mantle you can rely on. So anyway, here we go. That is E50. I'm not sure what he's trying to do, but I'm trying to get out of his way. And I find myself playing so defensively in this tank just because it's really just not very good. I don't trust it to bounce stuff. I don't trust it to do anything really. Yeah. I decided to start to go up there. I'm hoping someone else will back up that T30. Ends up that they don't. I'll just speed it up a little bit because this thing takes a decade to turn around. So I go over here and I decide to help out the T30. He's dithering around. I'm trying to, get into a position, and again, I can't just turn around the corner. I mean, I know he fired, so I was going round on him. I know the Jagdpanzer has also fired. And I get around into him. Come around the corner, blap him. Again, I'm safe to do that because I know that I've fired. And again, this thing alpha's hard, guys. You can do stuff like that in this tank. You can really ruin things. I move forward and take up the side scraping spot. Here we go. You can see what I'm doing. I get shot by the Waffle Traeger 100. Hits me there, just damages my track. Does nothing else. T30 again doesn't know where to shoot me, and I shoot the top of his turret. See, it's what I'm talking about. You get your tracks blown off. They shot me not in the right spot, basically. However, that guy that was the Waffle Traeger. And where's he shot me? Look, right there. And you saw, look at the angle that I'm at, by the way. He fired at me, and I was literally at that angle, right there. And he just penned me. Tier 9 tank destroyer. Does have 270 something pen, so it's enough to go through. But again, yeah, I'm just showing you guys, like, this is not, this is not, like, random in this tank. It's just what happens to it. So anyway, let's see the T57 heavy. I decide to start going for him. Speed it up a little bit just to save you guys, because you don't really want to watch me drive around, because he does make a run for it. I think about going left here, but I think we've got it in hand. The E100's going left, so I'm like, okay, I'll chase the T57. Try and get a shot on him there. Can't quite manage it. And there he is again. Get shot in the side from God knows what that wasn't spotted. I think that was the object. 268. My bad, I didn't see that, so that's just my fault. Anyway, here we go. I get a nice big shot into the side of him. Okay, and again, I'm just going to slow this down a little bit. Hopefully not that much. Again, he's firing heat, bear in mind, but still, heat. Lower plate. I think, okay, he's got my lower plate. I roll forward again. Does damage and blows my track off. I'm now tracked. No repair kit. I'm just facing the front of him. And so he just puts round after round into my front plate. And that's the end of that. Still did 3.3k damage. Not an awful game. Could have done more. Again, I haven't played this tank an awful lot, but I've played it enough to kind of get an understanding of it. Maybe I should know better than to chase T57 heavies. Would I have been scared in chasing him with an IS-7? No. With an E5, yes, but again, not a brawling tank. I have played an E100 before. Would I have been scared of chasing him in an E100? Not at all. Not at all. This tank, however, does not end well. Anyway, hopefully that showed you guys a little bit about it. Got another replay coming up where I really show you why this tank doesn't side scrape well. So here we go, Siegfried line. Pretty standard side scraping map. And so this game, I was basically conducting a test. I decided that this game I was just going to side scrape like an absolute hero, and really kind of show you guys what this thing can do in a side scraping situation. While we load in, I asked other players in my clan what they thought of this tank, because pretty much all of them got one. The consensus was pretty much that if people don't know where to shoot it, it's fine. It side scrapes really well. As soon as people know where to shoot it, it gets owned. I've had people say that, I've also had other people say that, when I've been side scraping and I said in clan chat, look guys, I'm playing this tank, I'm side scraping, and I'm just getting penned. What do I do? And I've had replies like, oh, you're doing it wrong, or it's a side scraping beast, what are you talking about? But then once, I spoke to them a few minutes ago actually, just before I did this video, spoke to them on, about 5 or 6 of them on comms, and they basically said, okay, it's just, if people know where to shoot it, you're just dead meat. And even then, like, knowing where to shoot it, it's not exactly hard to work out either. Yeah, worse armor, worse gun than E100. Anyway, so this time I decided to conduct an experiment. I drive to the prime side scraping spot, and I know I'm going to get hit by Artie here, but I basically just wanted to give you guys a look at a long side scraping fight. So I'm wondering, I'm probably going to come up against the 215B here, the British Heavy, because that's where I'd go in that tank. Oh look, there it is. So let's just slow it down a bit again. Whoops, that's not how we slow it down. Anyway, let's just have a quick pause there. Shockingly, I fire a panic shot at him, basically. I knew that he was going to get the first shot away, and I knew he was going to pen me. But as I said, I'm basically doing this for you guys as a review. You can see, first round hit me right there, right in the sweet spot of where you should shoot this tank. And again, look at the angle. I mean, it doesn't really get much more obscene than that, does it? I mean, so I'm like, okay. So, but again, basically, just running this as an experiment for you guys. You know, showing you what this tank can do, what it can't. Crushingly long reload time, by the way. Have I mentioned that? So I'm loading heat now because I've decided, well, if I'm going to do this, I need to pen him. Slow the speed down again a little bit. There he is. He's looking right at me. I rock backwards and forwards a little bit to try and throw off his aim. Makes no difference whatsoever. Right there. You see? See, that isn't even in the sweet spot. That's just the side of my tank. And again, look at the angle, guys. Look at the angle I'm giving him. Someone tell me I'm doing that wrong. You know, like what more angle? You know, I've literally got I can barely see his tank round the way, and I'm giving him that angle. You can't side scrape at a steeper angle than that, really. So now I've got control of the corner. I can wait for him to come out, and I just derp him right in the front of the turret. He luckily bounces because I drive back in instantly, and you can see where the smoke is. Tries to hit me in the same spot. Now that's arty hitting me, and just as you can see the shell landing there. Again, I'm not trying to play this game to win it so much as I am just trying to show you guys that this tank, very meh. And again, someone bounces off the side of my tank once more. And you know, if you can sit right on a corner and show them a slither of your tank, obviously it's going to bounce. But if you actually want to shoot back, not so much. Another round. Right there. Again, just penning me every time, without even a moment's thought. Just, you know, firing at the side of my tank. I believe that's the waffle Traeger behind me unloading on him. Yep. I'm chilling out. I'm just waiting for. I know Artie's going to be reloading. It's a shame the waffle Traeger's there. I kind of want to show you guys a bit more, but I don't know if I've shown you enough at this point. People just. There's the Artie. I knew that was going to happen at some point. Again, you know. Do you guys need to see more? I mean, I don't know. Stuff pens you on the lower plate, pens you on the side. There he goes. He's trying to roll out again. Thinks better of it because he knows that when he rolls out, I'm going to derp him. And at that point, I decide better of it. We end up losing this game. I end up doing about 2.5-3k damage, I think. Basically, just playing this as a support tank. What do I mean by a support tank? Basically, just by flanking in it. I flank, shoot stuff in the side. Basically, just using situational awareness. Yeah, you can do that in this tank. Again, it's fast, you can flank in it, but it's not a flanking tank. It really isn't. Use a medium, use an E5, use literally almost anything else other than the German tier 10 heavy to flank. You know, and you know, yeah. I don't know how much more I need to show you guys really. What I might do, I could upload a replay of a decent game I've had in this tank. But again, it doesn't. What I'm trying to show you guys is how this tank plays. And you know what you're supposed to do in it, and then this is it, and it's not good, guys. It really isn't. Anyway, that's the end of that replay, and I'll see you guys back in the garage. So here we go, guys, back in the garage. Final thoughts on this tank. Not good, basically. It does nothing better than the Mouse or the E100. The only thing it has over those tanks is its speed, and if you want speed and you want to flank, pick another tank. And that's, in a nutshell, that's really it. Um, is it a bad tank? I mean, all my bashing and ranting about it, is it unplayable? No. I have had, again, if I just bring up my service record, where are we? There it is. 2,500 average damage per game in it, 63% win rate, 33 games. So, and yeah, I couldn't, and that's mostly solo while pretty much researching this video. So I played about 10 games with it when I first got it. I haven't really played it much since then. So and that's not 2,500 damage per game. It's not not awful for a tier 10 heavy anyway. Like it's pretty respectable. Certainly not the best, but it's not horrific. So yeah, if you want a tank like this, get an E100 or a mouse. Does the job better. However, the point of this tank is that it's rare, and it's it's a reward for it's a reward tank in the sense of novelty. I might roll it out of the garage every now and again. Right now I'm about to strip all these parts off it, and I'm going to put it away for quite a while. And really, I have had people that sold this the moment they got it, guys, as well. I have people that in the clan. I mean, I would never sell it just because you can never get it again, hopefully. But I've had people that got it, played 5 games in it, and just sold it because they just said, well, why? Well, again, you don't have it because it's better than other tanks, because it's better at a roll. You have it because it's rare. So yeah. So hopefully, when you guys see it now, you're going to own these, because again, there or there. Pick one. And that's pretty much that. I know you guys might have been hoping for a bit of a more upbeat review about it, but it is what it is, and it's the tank. It's the first really negative tank review that I've done. And that, again, it's not because the tank's bad, it's just because it just doesn't do anything better than any other tank. Yeah, if you'd like me to upload replays of me doing well in it, I can do that. I think I've got a 6k damage game saved in a confrontation, in fact, against the US, which was pretty funny. Yeah, but general thoughts, not great. Anyway, guys, the next tank I will talk about will probably be the IS-6. I've had a few questions on that. I know people really like to hear about the premium tanks. Bit of a buyer's guide, if you will. So maybe I'll incorporate them all in one video. I've got a T-34 as well. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, guys. Let me know what you think of the tank. Have you played against it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Anything at all? And as usual, any feedback and any comments, very, very welcome. Thank you very much, guys, and I shall see you next time.